Okay. All right, so I'll give you a moment. This is a really short, 4.2 goes really fast, and this focuses on graphing. So this kind of lends itself to 4.1. What do we do first in order to find our zeros? What do we do with our factors? All right, let's do that. So on a separate sheet of paper, I'm going to take the x plus 3 and set that equal to 0. So step number 1 would be to find my zeros. Actually, I'm going to go back. Let me go back. Step number 1 would be to factor. But this one is already factored. So since this is already factored, we're going to skip to number 2, which is to find my zeros. We're going to set the factors equal to 0. So there should only be 2 places where this graph is touching the x-axis. Only 2. So I'm going to drop. Those are the only 2 points that I should have down, is at -3 and -1. Now, what's the multiplicity at this first, or at this 0, the -3? 1. So this one has a multiplicity of 1, which means it will cross through there. But for the x plus 1, that has a multiplicity of what? 2, which means it's going to touch or bounce. So this one is going to touch it, which is, to me, the same thing as saying bounce. I really don't like the word touch because I feel like even if you cross through, you still touch. But to me, bounce sounds a little bit, makes more sense. What is my degree? When you add your multiplicities, what do you get? 3. Who agrees that it's 3? So I recognize that this is a 3rd degree positive, which is important when you're graphing on the quiz next, the quiz next week, on homework 12, is that you recognize your end behavior so you'll know what your graph should look like. So this is a 3rd degree positive, which tells me on the right side is going to go down. Sorry, on the left side is going to go down. On the right side is going to go up. And the last thing you need to do is find your midpoint. So we can figure out where are our relatives, our relative maxes and mins. Not our relatives like our cousins, but our relative max and min. So we're going to find our midpoint. So what number is in the middle of my zeros? -2. So let's go ahead and find that. Find f of -2. So I'll give you a moment to either type that in your calculator or use some mental math. So for -2, what did you all get? Are you all typing it in? What y'all get? I got my answer. I ain't gonna share mine. You got what? 1. Anybody else get 1? +1 or -1? So we have that. We have a point at -2, +1. Let's go ahead and graph that. So what we have to do, so remember it is crossing. So at the -1, it's going to bounce, but it's going to cross through at the -3. So let me draw my graph. It's going to come up, cross through. When it hits the -1, it bounces back up. And that would be your graph. So understanding what the graphs do at each 0. So this graph has a relative max somewhere in here, and the relative min is at that 0. No absolutes because it's odd. Any questions? So the first example is factored, but of course the rest won't be. Are we ready for the next one? All right, go ahead and copy this down. So first thing I notice is I have an odd even. Sorry, I said an odd even. There is no such thing as an odd even, y'all. I meant to say an even. What? Is it positive or negative? Even negative. That's what I was trying to say. Which tells me that my end behavior is going to be what? What should happen with my arrows? Both go up or both go down? All right, so that's important. I always like to put that as a reminder, because if your sketch is not looking like that, then you should know when you graph on the quiz that you didn't do it right. Both of your arrows in the end should go down. If you can factor, you always start with factoring. Now, later on in the week, we're going to look at, well, what if it's not factorable? How do we find our zeros? If it's a 4th degree, we can't do the quadratic formula. But here it's a 4th degree, but it is factorable. So what do you think I'm going to factor out? What's my GCF? X what? X squared. And we're going to take out a negative x squared. The reason why is because I want it to be a positive quadratic. You cannot factor if a is negative. So let's take out our GCF. I'm going to divide everything by negative x squared. So that gives me a positive x squared, a minus x, and a minus 6. Go ahead and factor that down. Two numbers that multiply to be -6 and add to -1. Anybody know our numbers that multiply to give us -6 but add to a -1? All right, Jeremy said -3 and +2. Who agrees? I agree. So we have 3 factors. This first factor, when I divide by -1 and take the square root, that's just going to give me a 0 of 0, 0. And because it's squared, it is going to bounce off that. So that's important to keep in mind. The x minus 3, that will give me a 0 at -3, 0. sorry, at positive 3, 0, and it's going to go through. And then also negative 2, 0, and it's also going to go through. So let's go ahead and plot our 3 points. These are the only points we should have. All right, how do we know if it's going to bounce or go through? What are we looking at, guys? Anybody remember? The exponent on the factor. If it's an even exponent, it's bouncing. Both of these have a 1, which is odd, which makes them go through. All right, next step is find your midpoint. So let me zoom in. You have to go in the middle of your zero. So in between these 2 zeros, what is in between negative 2 and 0? All right, and then what's in between 0 and 3? 1.5. Good. All right, so let's go ahead. Those are our 2 midpoints that we need to find. So with your calculator, find f of negative 1 and f of positive 1.5. Now remember, if you're using your calculator, the negative and then inside of the parentheses is a negative 1. Then it would be a plus negative 1. That's how you would have to type it in. That negative does not go away. So I'll give you a moment to get those 2 numbers. See what I got. What you all get for negative 1? Negative 1, what you all get? I did not get 6. You got 4? Anybody else get 4? I got 4. You said what? Yes. You got 4? All right. Yeah, you should get 4. So that means I have a point at negative 1, 4. And then also type in the 1.5. I got 12. So are we ready to graph it? You got your 2 points down? So I'm coming up from the bottom. I go through, make a U-turn, bounce, come back up, make a U-turn, and go through. So this graph does not have a minimum. This would be my absolute max. Both of these would be local maxes. And this is my local min. And that's what I'm looking for on the graph. So sorry, y'all. I cannot stop yawning. It's like once you start, you just keep going. We ready for example 3? We got 5 examples. Help us get ready. There is a graphing question on the quiz. All right, go ahead and copy down example 3. First step, factor it. What do you think my GCF is going to be? Negative 2x or negative 2x squared? Negative 2x. Good. So let's go ahead and take that out. So that's going to leave me with x squared minus 6x plus 9. Go ahead and factor that down. So you need 2 numbers. They multiply to be a positive 9, but add and give you a negative 6. 2 numbers that multiply to be positive 9 and add to negative 6. What'd you say, Justice? Negative 3, negative 3. So which means that I really just have 2 factors. So negative 2x equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0. So 0, 0, that's an odd multiplicity. It is going to go through. But positive 3, 0, that's a multiplicity because this is a squared factor. It's going to bounce. So when you put those 2 points down, 0, 3, what's my one number that I'm going to substitute in for my midpoint? In the middle, you're always looking in the middle of your zeros. 1.5. So go ahead and find 1.5. So it would be negative 2. Here, let me pull that over. Negative 2 parentheses 1.5 cubed plus 12 parentheses 1.5 squared minus 18 times 1.5. And we're just going to round it to the 10th place. Since we're graphing, it really can't be accurate. This is an odd negative. So what do we know about our end behavior? Is it going to be, yeah, it's going to be going down on the, it's going to be going down on the right, but on the left it should be going up, and on the right it should be going down. I'm sorry. Right, because it's a third degree. And if you add up your multiplicities, when it's factored, you can still see that it's a third degree because you have a 1 and a 2. So odd negative, let me write that here. This is an odd negative, so your end behavior should be up on the, well, on this side it should be up, and on the right it should be down. So approximately, what did you all get? First of all, did you get a positive number or a negative number? Negative number. Negative what? Approximately. Yeah, so I got about 6.8. Let me see. You said what?
Like literally
6.75.
We're negative, but. Like,
Okay, you didn't put the 2.
I did it.
No. Let me insert it for you. So if you're not getting that number, it's like probably just something you're not putting in. Yeah. So I got about negative 6.8, negative 6.75 to be exact. So we need to put a point down somewhere around 1.5, and that's approximately, negative 7, really. We're graphing it, so we can't really graph negative 6.75. So I'm going to zoom in. So I'm coming down to about negative 7. All right. So we got to remember, we're coming down. It's going through the 0. We make a U-turn. We hit this and we bounce. We turn back around. That's what your graph should look like. All right, 2 more graphs. We ready for example 4? Ready? All right, let's go. Let's copy it down. I'm going to give you all a minute to do that on your own. Go ahead and factor it and find your zeros. Okay, you can check your zeros against mine to see if you got the same thing I got. So who has 0, 0, 4, 0, and negative 2, 0? Yep. The 0, 0, because this is even, that's why it's going to bounce, because this number is even. All right, so let's go ahead and plot those points. So negative 2, 0, and 4. So what are my two numbers? If there's however many x-intercepts you have, you go down 1. That's how many midpoints. So if I have 3 x-intercepts, then there's 2 midpoints. If there's only 2 x-intercepts, then there's just 1 midpoint. So we have 3. So there should be 2 numbers that I'm substituting in. So what are my 2 numbers? -1 and +2. And if you ever get a number that's really big, so like for example, f of 2, we get a big number, we get -32. I don't expect for you to draw a graph that goes down to -32. So this is what I got for both of those. I got -32 and I have -5. So one of the questions in your homework, I can't remember if you get a number super high or super low, but if it doesn't fit on your graph, let me show you what I want you to do. So for the -1, -5, it just goes here. But for the 2, I just put it right on the outside of my grid. I mean, again, I know that's not, and then I label it to show that that point is to -32. So if you have a point that goes off the grid, just put it like right outside of the grid and label it. Let me go ahead and move this over so you all see what's happening. So my 2 points, when I got my 2 midpoints, I had one at -1, what was it? -5. And then I had one at +2, -32. So when that happens, if it's off the grid, just put it on the outside, but label it. So show me with your thumbs, what should my end behavior look like? What should my arrows look like? I agree, I agree, I agree. Yep, both sides should be going up because it is even, it's a 4th degree, and it's positive. So this side should be up, and so should this side. So I'm gonna come down, hit that first 0. Now at the -2, I'm going through. I come down here, but at the 0, I'm gonna bounce and turn back around. Come down, hit that 2, and then come back up. So we would have, and it's a little on the messy side, but so this would be my absolute min. Both of these would be local mins. And I have a local max at 0, 0. All right, one more and then we are done. 4-2 goes fast. Now on homework 12, you can either, I know there's not a lot of space, but so you can either show the tables on the back side of that worksheet, or you can do it on a separate sheet and staple it, whichever way you prefer. All right, last example. Are we ready? Sure. Sure. All right, go ahead and copy this one down. This one is short. What's my GCF? 3x, good. Which is going to leave me with x squared minus 4, which is the difference of two squares. So what does that factor down to? X plus and minus 2. Now, all of these have a multiplicity of 1. So it's going to go through at every single point. So we're going to take that 3x. This is going to give me 0, 0. It's going to go through. And then this is going to give me negative 2, 0. Also will go through. And this gives me a positive 2, 0. Also goes through. And then what would be your two midpoints that I need to find? Negative 1 and positive 1. Because this has a multiplicity of 1. There's an invisible 1 next to the x. So go ahead and type that in if you need to. So you have 3 times negative 1 cubed minus 12 times negative 1. And then you have 3 times positive 1 cubed minus 12 times positive 1. You want to go now? Okay, here you go. So for negative 1, what did you all get? Positive 9 or negative 9? Positive 9, but then for positive 1, you should have negative 9. So let's go ahead. So negative 1, I'm going to go down 9. Positive 1, I'm going up 9. Now, this is an odd positive, which means this side should be going up and this side should go down. That's important. So I'm going to, and it goes through every single time, so that makes it easy. Wait, what am I doing?
The one on the left should be at 9. The one on the right should be at 9.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, because that's not going to work. Okay, let me fix that. I knew something was wrong. So I'm like, that's not going to happen. Okay, negative 1 is at positive 9. There we go. Now we go. Okay. So we're going to come up, go through, hit that point, come down, go through, hit that point, and come back up. So we don't have any absolutes. We have a relative max here and a relative min here. All right, that's it for today. That's the end of 4.2.